listening to the Knives Templar podcast. Hey guys, we'd like to welcome you to this episode of the Knives Templars. This week we've got a lot of stuff in store. This is our second full episode, Season 1, Episode 3. But I tell you what, I'm excited what we're going to be talking about this week. We've got a little bit to mention about getting started in knife making, and that's really the heart of this podcast, is just helping people to grow, and we have the talent here to certainly help with that. And also we learn as we work with each other as well. We're also going to be talking about some of our upcoming knife shows that some of our folks here are going to be attending, as well as some little bit of food talk, because if you're making knives, you got to be making food as well with it. But for now, let's talk a little bit about taking that steel down and putting a grind on it. We've got a new sponsor called AmeriBraid, and we want to tell you a little bit about them.
Hey listeners, let's take a moment today to thank one of our sponsors for today's show, and that sponsor is AmeriBraid Grinders. Eric and Kevin over at AmeriBraid have sold thousands of these grinders, and they are super nice guys, and their customer service is excellent. I would know. I've been personally using their 2x72 grinder now for 2 years, and it has changed my knife making to a whole new level. So if you're in the market for or looking to upgrade from that 1x30 or 2x42, then give AmeriBraid a look. There you'll find they have 3 packages of grinders to offer. They have a Mastery package, Foundations package, and a Get Grinding package, in which all of them come at different price points. So I'm sure you'll find something that'll suit your needs as a knife maker. Also, AmeriBraid has a ton of innovative attachments for their grinders. So listeners, you can find out about all of this at www.ameribraid.com. Go give them a look, see what they have to offer today. And now, back to the show.
Otis here, Joey, Chris, Eric, how you guys doing? It's been a couple weeks since we got together on the podcast. What you guys been up to?
I worked on my, started to use my new oven the other day. That was cool. Did the first heat treat. Didn't come out quite as well as I had hoped. But I'm trying Parks 50 oil with some 1084, and it was just the first time I had done it with the oven and with the Parks 50. So just had to fine tune that. Ran them back through a second time. Everything was great. And then working on that Damasteel knife that I've got. Normally when I etch a knife, I would go. Yeah, that was only
beautiful.
That was only the 400 grit with a ferric chloride etch. Normally when I etch, that's about what I'll go to, is 400 to 600. But on Damasteel, what I've seen is, since it's stainless, if I go up higher, I'll get, instead of a contrast of 2 dark grays, I'll actually, one of them will retain the polish of like the mirror, and so you'll get like a gray versus a mirror. So I'm gonna take it up to 2000 grit. Hand sand, that'll be fun, and then I'll probably I'll etch it in some warm muriatic acid, which sounds super scary and dangerous, but I think we've got a plan on how to do it safely. And then when we're done, we'll just dump it in my buddy's pool, because he puts it in his pool anyway, so we're all good.
So
how much did that piece of Damasteel run you?
Oh, Damasteel's not cheap.
No.
Damasteel, like, I got mine through True Grit. I didn't order directly from Damasteel, but I ordered from True Grit, and they sell it by the inch. And so Damasteel patterns for a piece that wide, that was a billet that was 2 inches wide. It's somewhere in the neighborhood of $15 to $20 an inch.
And how thick is that?
It's not cheap. The stuff I got was just a shade under 1/8 of an inch.
Wow.
So it was already
not a lot of material there. Yes.
Oh yeah. It's already been machined down, polished down to the right size. I mean, it's truly a stock removal, but it's a. I like to. When I was grinding it, it was a bit of a butt pucker moment, right? You're real gentle and slow. We actually had a great question this week that came up. Matthew Rich said that he's going to be doing some hand sanding this week and wanted to know like what your go-to song is for sanding or when you're working at the grinder. Normally for me, it's something, I want something with a beat. I want something that's fast. I like some punk. I want a little bit of. It's all about the drums when I'm hand sanding.
Does
I
the
want
butt
something
pucker
by
puck to the beat or what?
Oh, that. No, that doesn't work when I'm grinding. So when I'm hand sanding, so I'm going to go to his question, right?
You're
When I'm hand
relaxed.
sanding, I want something that's fast, right? I want
Yeah.
some Green Day, some Blink
with you.
182. I want to hear Trey Cool and
Yeah.
Travis Barker on drums rocking out. When I ground this knife, it was remind myself, go slow. I turn the grinder down to 70%. Get that VFD on your grinder. Chip, you'll know what that's like one of these days. Turn that down, and then listen to some jazz piano music, something slow, something that said, we don't have to do this fast. If it takes us 2 hours to grind the bevels in on this knife, that's fine. Fresh belts, slow music, and it came out really well. I'm really, really happy with it. So I got to ask you guys, what do you listen to when you're grinding or when you're hand sanding?
I go for
Zydeco.
some soft rock or something slow, right? I don't like a heavy beat because, as I said before, for me, when I go to do some, make some knives or something, or grind or anything that I'm doing knife related, is more of a therapeutic kind of deal, and I'm there to relax and unwind from the day and the week. So if I try listening to some beats, right, real strong metal
That
or
80s
something,
soft rock.
something like that. Yes, I go
The
back
80s
from
soft
where,
rock.
yeah, I go
Poison.
back to the time I was a kid, right? I like those old 80s music.
Bee Gees?
Chip gets offended by you calling 80s music old.
Unskinny Bop.
Well, I mean, I'm from '79, so
Old 80s music.
Old 80s. There were two olds in there.
yeah.
I went to concerts, you guys.
So you
listen,
like glam rock?
I went to concerts, you guys.
I mean, when you go to band names, I'm terrible, man. I can listen to a song and say, "Oh, I like it." I listened to many times before, but don't ask me the name of that song because I don't know.
Gotcha.
He's saying hand saying to come sail away.
Don't be busting on sticks now, man.
Hey, man,
Don't
whatever
Hey,
helps me
Styx
get
is
through
the greatest-
those 3 hours worth of hand sanding.
What was that?
Well,
that
Matthew-
Adam Sandler movie where that kid said Styx is the greatest rock band of all time. That's what he said in that movie. Yeah.
Tommy
No,
Shaw
Styx is good,
Yeah.
but hey, that's good. That's right.
Okay, guys. Well, I'm glad that Matthew asked that question because.
See, I listen to a spectrum of music.
Okay.
Oh, cut that out. We'll have to cut that. What'd you say?
No,
Eric?
no. I want to hear. He's Eric. Go ahead. Eric listens to the Bee Gees.
Oh, I just say I listen to a spectrum of music. Mine, it varies from Deftones, to I'll listen to I listen to everything. So it's like I'll listen to some old school rock. Or
BTS.
I'll listen to
Smooth
something
like
that's more current,
butter.
or smooth like butter. No, old school commercials. No, but no, it's seriously. I do Deftones or like 21 Pilots or something like going back to like the Eagles or something
Oh,
like
I
that.
like the Eagles.
It's,
Yeah.
it's a little bit of everything because you never know. And then of course I'll listen to my political podcasts and whatnot because I'm one of
Yeah, I
those
keep
guys.
my
Gotcha.
politics in
What does
my
the riot
shop, so.
listen to?
Zydeco. I
So
wanted to say Zydeco.
the riot. So y'all know that's no negatory. So you know that Santuco knife I just showed y'all, right?
Yeah.
You listened to
So
Santana
while I was
you made the
sanding that, I
Santuca?
was listening.
You listened to Santana while you made the
No.
Santuca?
No, I was actually listening to Megadeth, Symphony of Destruction.
Oh my.
So I'm kind of like Chimp. I like something
Yeah.
upbeat. But I also like Stone Temple Pilots.
Sweet.
I like Green Day.
Yeah, some STP.
Yep. Stuff like that. What about you, Chip?
I want to listen to two types of music when I'm making knives, but I do love everything across the board. I enjoy bluegrass and country and rock and roll and everything, but when I make knives, two types of music: Irish pub songs.
Barry Manilow.
No, Irish pub songs and Norwegian, dark Norwegian music. A group called Warunda, which is, you ever seen the show Vikings?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
So
you like
if you've
that?
seen-
If I had a heart.
Yeah, well, it's a very dark, drummy, really neat instruments, and it just puts me in the right frame of mind to sit there and do it. I don't know why.
I mean, you are making a killing instrument, so I mean, a
No,
weapon.
I
So
make-
it
Got a
puts
point
you
there,
right
Rambo.
there.
I'm with you
I
on
make
that.
butter knives that look like killing instruments.
Mm.
But what the,
I've
the
seen what you
reason
make,
being,
man.
You
I've seen what you make.
make good knives, Chip.
Thank you on a 2x42, I must say. Yes, butter knife.
knife.
That's a beautiful butter knife too, Eric, as you're holding it up for us to see. I have some Scandinavian heritage and English and Scottish, and I have some very close Norwegian friends. I think I may have mentioned before, but the thing is, they always say that I would be a bastard slave blacksmith if I had been back then, because undoubtedly my lineage is the product of Vikings coming to England, integrating through rape and pillage. And rape does not mean necessarily what we think of it here. I mean, it means taking and plundering, but also and then moved to Scotland, and somehow I got mixed into there. But they just say that I'm a mixed blood mutt kind of Viking dude. So I'm just glad I'm a mixed blood Viking kind of dude that was born in Georgia.
Hey, I
United
was
States.
gonna say, you're the closest Viking we have. So the closest thing we have to a real Viking, huh?
Please don't. When you're over in Norway, don't say, "Hey, Chip Carley's a Viking," because they'll all laugh. They'll go, "No, that's that mutt dude that thinks he's a Viking. At least he can make knives." But no, but I enjoy, and I always have. I've enjoyed that kind of darker music. But just so I don't sound like that's all I do. I mean, I'm all over the board with music. I could be listening to Dwight Yoakam one week, and I don't know. You pick a band, and I'll listen to it the next week. I'm all over the place. I even
You
listen
mentioned
to
the
Bolly.
Irish pub songs.
Yeah, love them.
Yeah, so go give. Have you ever listened to Dropkick Murphys?
I have love them. Love
Listen to
Dropkick
some-
Murphys.
Yeah,
Irish
yeah.
pub songs.
Get some
Dropkick Murphys.
Get some. It's like a Celtic punk, right? I mean, you're gonna mix.
It
like,
is.
It's like you took Irish pub songs
Yeah.
and mixed it with Green Day or
Celtic
something,
punk rock.
Right. And that's
Celtic
what's
punk
good.
rock, man. Go listen to some Dropkick Murphys.
Yeah, and I love them. And out of Scotland, you've got a band and bagpipes group there called Clandonia. Look them up on YouTube sometime, Clandonia, and they is the most beautiful, just drumline bagpipes going, and the leader of this particular group just dances all over the place. So I've listened to them making knives too. So I really like old school stuff. I like Middle Ages kind of music and stuff, somber stuff. When I'm making knives, it just kind of puts me in the mood with the fire and everything going, and the mood for making knives, I should say. And it's fun. But enough about me and music.
Well, I kind of derailed us there with that question in the middle of what I've been up to this last week. So let's see. Let me toss it over. So the riot, what you been up to this week?
Well, other than my normal job, which I don't know if I ever told you guys what I do.
Copier repairman?
I build remote controlled. Wait, what's that, Chip?
Copier repairman? You make a lot of similar looking knives. I didn't know if you.
No, I build.
I'm joking.
I got you. I build remote control airplane tugs. So that's what I do. My day job.
What's a remote control airplane
But,
tug?
I was gonna ask the same thing.
So it's yeah. Have you ever seen like BattleBots on TV?
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah.
Like fighting
Yeah.
robots.
Yeah. So yeah. So that's what it is. It's a towbot, and that's the name of our company. So, but not to get off track, but so I've been working on the two hidden tangs, and I've just been taking my time.
I used to build
going real
giant
slow,
scale remote control
and,
airplanes. I'm cutting you off. I used to build giant scale remote control airplanes. You've interested me. I used to build them professionally for folks and send them all over I sent them to France and England and all over the United States and Canada. when I would build them. So I'm getting it. I mean, what are these? What are these devices that you're talking about? I mean, are you building actual aircraft? Or are you building devices used on them, or what is it?
Yeah. No, it's a remote control operated tug. So instead of like the regular tug that you would see, drive up to the airplane and latch onto the wheel, these are remote control
I
operated.
know what you're talking about. Oh, you're
And
talking about to actually move
Okay,
actual
yeah,
airplanes. The
Yes, they
tug is
move
the
airplanes.
tug is the device that moves the plane once it's come to a stop.
Yeah.
yeah, like a little bobcat, right? Just to go in there, hook up the like a little
It's
tow
it's
truck,
like it looks like a
itty bitty
yeah,
tow
it looks
truck
like
to
a
pull
little
airplanes.
it looks like a little battle bot. That's why I mentioned battle bots. It looks like a
Yeah.
battle bot.
I'm
And
imagining it looking just like one of those.
yep, you just drive it. It has a carriage that you drop the gate on, and you drive it up under the wheel of the airplane, and then it automatically
How big are
latches
those?
as it. We have three different models. The smallest and the intermediate are the same frame. They're like 42 inches by 42 inches wide.
And they're able
really
to
cool.
And
drag a plane.
yeah, they can. You can rotate the plane within its own wingspan. I mean, I'll send y'all pictures while I'm working on them one
I'd
day.
imagine the
But
battery power on that thing must be real good, huh?
yeah, that well, y'all seen my finger, right? Remember the injuries we were talking about?
Right.
Yeah, that's how I injured it. Working on working on these tow bots. You got two 12-volt marine batteries wired in series, and I did something very foolish and stupid. It was a rookie mistake, but
Well,
that'll be a story for
I
another day.
bet you ain't gonna
That's
do that
cool. See,
again.
I was picturing something that you use for fighting
No.
remote control airplanes in the air, and I was like going, you were
Yeah,
saying
me
battle
too.
bots, and I'm like, ooh, planes are fighting in the air and some type of tug device, but I know what you're talking about.
Chip's mind just like went. He's like, "Oh man, I gotta know more
And
about this."
mine
Chip, the
went
king
right
of the
next to
rabbit
I
hole.
was
Chip's.
like,
Yeah.
I'm starting a new podcast, and I'm getting into this, man. This is
No, but like I was saying, I've been working on. Y'all sent y'all pictures. The two hidden tangs. Working on the guards. I've just been taking my time since I've never really made a hidden tang. And in between that, I managed to knock out another Santuco, and kind of took Otisier's advice and kind of brought the grinds back the whole length of the cutting edge. So I was hand sanding that one just before we got on, and I was jamming out some STP. So
you got a sweet looking
hopefully,
shop, by the way. I like that
um,
background. Your shop looks pretty cool there in the background. Is that your knife shop there?
oh yeah,
I know we're on an audio
yeah.
podcast, but
This is,
well lit and very nice looking. So
appreciate it. Thank you. Yep.
I do have a bone to pick with you over
But,
what you've been doing, though. I had to chastise my sister. I really did. She keeps telling me how much she likes your knives. I'm like, buy one of his knives then. I don't care. So you've got a fan out there. You've got a fan in
Wow,
Dover,
that's
Delaware,
cool.
that just thinks that you make the most beautiful knives in the world. So she
Dover,
can just
Delaware.
buy your dang knives in. I don't care.
Well, I tell you,
They are
tell
beautiful.
your sister. That's your sister.
Yes,
Is that your sister? You said, Chip?
that is my sister.
Tell your sister I said thank you very much. I appreciate that.
She'll probably tell you sometime. She was very impressed with the things that you've posted. Otisir,
Awesome.
have you been a busy man the last
Yeah.
couple weeks?
No, not at all. I mean, this week all I did was work on a single sheath, and that is due to my OCD. If I start a knife and I'm not able to finish it within the week, I will go bananas. So I decided to just take a step back and work on a different little thing. I made the sheath. I cleaned up my little shop there, my little studio, and I will be starting a new knife on Sunday. So I will get it started on Sunday, and usually by Wednesday or Thursday, I'm already finished with the whole thing. Um, because last weekend, if you remember, I went to Philly with my wife for our wedding anniversary, and that is a whole different story there. But yeah, so I made home I came back home as Sunday night, so that kind of put a wrench on my knife making for the week. But it was, it's okay. I took a moment to take a breath and take a step back and look with some fresh eyes. So I'm probably gonna be making something with those antlers that I bought a few weeks back. I got them ready, and
You're gonna get them
let's
polished very
see.
nice.
Let's see.
You're gonna polish them up.
Oh
real
yeah,
nice?
yeah. I'll take your advice. I'll get me some KY and sit here on the couch polishing them antlers there.
Good job. Good job.
Make sure you use the same hand
Oh
motion.
yeah, over and over
So-
again.
I
So
went.
you and I are completely different. You talk about OCD and you've got to finish a knife from start to finish. I cannot tell you the last time I started a knife and finished the same knife without working on at least 6 others at the same time.
Wow.
I have.
I
dude.
can't do that.
I've got
I
10
tried.
knives. I have 10 knives on my workbench right now that all need hand sanding on the handles. Right, so I just got to sand up the handles.
I tried
And I
doing
got
that
7
before.
more I just heat treated.
I tried doing that before. Is a no go for me. I had 4 on the works at the same time. Is like, I cannot. I take one
You
project.
got OCD. I got ADHD.
I take that one project and I have to see it through all the way. I have to see it finished. If I cannot, you're gonna drive me nuts. I have nightmares and stuff. I don't know. I mean, that's me. I mean, when I start something, I better see it all the way to the end.
I'm kind of like
I'm
that.
like Chris. I'm like scatterbrain, man. I got so many different things going on. It's like I can't focus on one thing. It's like, oh, let me start this. I'm working on. I tell y'all, I'm working on these 2 hidden tangs. Then I bust out a Santuco. It's like I'm just all over the place.
Yeah, I wish
And
I
I'm
could
like
do that.
Otis here. I have to-
really wish I could do that.
I have to work
Yeah,
on
I
one
mean-
or 2 knives at a time because I've got so much mentally invested into that particular knife and how I want it to turn out. I just can't think of another. So, but I've got 5 knives, very similar style I've got to make right now, and I'm actually contemplating. I've cut out one and ground it down. So I'm contemplating doing the other 4 tomorrow. So maybe I'll break through and be able to do it. So we'll see. Eric Rivers, what have you been doing, man?
Yeah.
Man, I've been working on
Staying warm?
all kinds of stuff, man. I've got trying to stay warm, but no, I've been working on, the challenge, the dagger challenge for the YouTube knife makers challenge that we're working on. I've been getting everything ready on it, and the amount of symmetry that has to happen on that blade is absolutely crazy in order to, because it's completely symmetrical. So I've got templates for handle sections and like all of these different things because I've got to have a good base. So having all of the grinds before I even technically start grinding it has to be perfect. All the edges have to be symmetrical. The handle area has to be symmetrical. The little divots and all the random little things so that whenever I start grinding the bevels, they're
You got
symmetrical.
8 of those things.
And on top of that, yes,
A butt pucker
it's gonna
moment
be
at the grinder.
it's gonna be a pain. in
How
the butt.
how is the
Yes, it will, because if I mess up one thing, that's
Yeah, you're done.
how is the
How's the what?
Darth Maul, the whatever we called it, is that what we're talking about here, or is this the 2-bladed? Okay, well that's
yes,
okay. That's
yes. So it's yes. So with that, you've got 4 bevels per side. So 4 bevels per blade. So a total of 8 bevels that I've got to get perfectly symmetrical, and it is gonna be a nightmare because if I mess up one, I've got to change the bevels on the other 7 to match that one, and it's gonna be a little bit of a headache, but I'm up for the challenge, and I wanted to do something that the other guys weren't gonna do, so I kind of forced myself into this little pigeonhole. But other
You
than
wanna
that,
borrow
I
my 2x42?
started designing the next Shop Talk Tuesday build series knife, and
Do you want to borrow my 2x42?
Whenever we were talking about that, I don't know if y'all have ever actually watched my intro.
Yeah.
Have y'all ever watched my actual
Yeah.
intro on my
it's in there.
videos?
Yeah.
It's in there.
There's
Yeah.
a grinder. The grinder that I used to use was a 2x42 that was made out of square tubing and a variable speed angle grinder as the motor. So, yeah, I've been
cool
in that
factor.
2x42. One of my good friends, a local smith, he's using it now.
What kind of grind are you putting on
it
those
still gets used
bevels? You're
weekly.
gonna go full flat on them? I mean, full as possible, right? Because it is a dagger. But you're
No.
gonna do kind of a hollow, kind of,
So
or what you call it, the convex. I mean, what are you
no,
doing
I'm gonna
there?
be doing a. It's gonna be closer to a version of like a Scandi grind or something like that, if you wanted to call it anything. I've got the texture all the way down the center of it, and I want that to show, but the bevels will probably go up. It's kind of hard to say. I guess the closest thing I could say is, something like a Scandi grind. So there's still going to be flats and everything like that, just so that all that design shows up. But it's gonna be interesting, and it's gonna be unique.
Yeah.
I know if I was
Yes,
trying to
you
attempt
know,
that
Can't wait for
particular,
everybody to see it when it's done.
if I was trying
you
to
decided
attempt
what
that,
kind
it
of
would
handle
come
you're
out
gonna
like
put
a
it in?
two-side. Have you what was that?
Have you
Pinto?
just go ahead?
Just
Chip.
so a lot of
See,
people.
Chris is laughing over there.
So hold on, a lot of people don't get to see what we see. We see each other talking on this. So we've got our little windows popped up of everybody on the camera, and so just watching everybody kind of go, am I talking over somebody else or am I talking over somebody else? But
And you can't talk
y'all are
louder
cracking
because
me
we're
up.
all
That's
limited.
absolutely awesome.
Well,
right, Chip,
I'll
you go
chime in
first.
here. Then.
Yes.
Oh, there you go.
So what were y'all gonna say?
I'm going to ask you in Pinto. If I had to make that, all I was going to say is that somebody, when I got done trying to get the grind the same on all sides, it would come out looking like a two-sided fencing sword, just two wires on both ends. I don't know. I don't even want to fathom what you're getting ready to do. So I've been watching. We'll continue to watch as you put out videos on that. But you had mentioned Shop Talk Tuesday as well.
Yes, so I'm actually doing my first through tang knife. That's gonna be fun. Of course, I haven't told anybody that yet because that's not for like 2 weeks from now. But for the people watching this, you know what type of knife we're gonna be making. I'm gonna be talking about it on Tuesday, so it won't really matter. But yeah, I'm doing a through tang knife. I've never done that as an actual butt cap where you peen the tang into place, and that's kind of like a mechanical area that actually holds everything together, but it will be epoxied. But leather stack, antler, through tang, it's gonna be awesome. And my first time
you
doing a
gonna
leather
go
stack
with the-
handle.
Any desire to polish the
Nice.
antler?
So Eric, are you
Otis
gonna
knows how
go
to
with
polish
the
an antler.
wrought iron?
Go ahead.
Yes, I plan on going with wrought iron. I'm trying to track some down right now. If you just went and Googled purchasing wrought iron, it's just like, would you like mild steel? Nobody's exactly offering a whole bunch of that wrought iron.
Yeah,
So you
it's hard to find.
You can't go take someone's fire grate or cut. Of course, I'd ask.
So, have you decided what kind of handle you're gonna put it in there?
I think he said leather stack.
No.
Yeah.
Talking
Leather
about
stack
Oh,
the
the
dagger
dagger.
for the daggers.
Yeah. Oh yes. So I'm doing a dyed, textured camel bone.
Oh wow.
Yes.
So
Yes.
it's gonna be cool, and a lot of people are doing fluted,
Very cool.
Korean style daggers, and I wanted to have that texture and I got in touch with a guy who does some stuff on Etsy, and I was able to get these from him, and they're gonna be something else. It'll be my first time using it, but I'm really interested in it, and I wanted to use something that was, I guess you could say that wasn't just your normal material.
Have any of you used
that's why I went with
giraffe
camel bone.
bone? I've seen some knives
No, but
made
I
with
want to.
those handles. They're not too bad, price wise. I think you can find them for around $70 for the scales. Uh, but I'm really interested in it. I'm designing a knife that I'm gonna be giving
So
to my son when he comes out of the National Guard Academy that he's going right now. He's gonna be coming out of there by the end of May, early June, and I'm gonna be getting me some semi from New Jersey Steel Baron, and I'm planning to put some giraffe bone for the handles on there. It I have a design in my mind.
so funny enough, my wife was okay with the whole camel bone thing, but she wasn't okay with the giraffe bone. She didn't want any giraffes to be, harmed in the making of my knife. I don't know why she thought giraffes were easy or were harder to sacrifice than
Oh
camels.
my goodness! I just
That
finished
was a
a
real
baby
thing.
seal bone handle. I
Oh boy.
No, I can understand that because it's not all baby seal. It's a small section of baby seal skull, and then there's some bald eagle tendon that pulls it together, and
Oh boy.
finish that up with a little spotted owl feathers hanging off of the handle. So, anyway, I've got a supplier for these materials.
Hopefully there's
think
no game wardens listening to
Infant
this.
spotted owl feathers.
Chip, I think you broke like 37 laws right there.
Yep.
Now, I got a question for Chip. The other day you posted a picture showing a little bit of your shop, and you had some lure making supplies. And I had a question there, and then I pulled out because I misspelled a word. Uh, have you ever thought about using some of your lure making supplies and putting them into like a resin block and actually making scales with those? I think that would be really nice, depending on what
Not
kind of lure supply that you have.
Yeah, I used to make all kinds of hard bait lures, swim baits and crankbaits and such, but nothing really along those lines. But you kind of hit on a topic. My son is in dental school, and he can get plastic teeth or some type of resin teeth that they used to do in their dental school to fill cavities and things like that. And I told him that if he can get me some of these teeth, or if through their vending machine, or if I have to order them through Amazon, I was going to make him a dental knife. There's a knife that they use in dentistry that's used for working with clays and stuff. I guess making molds and all. And I was going to make a resin knife with these acrylic teeth in it. So I thought that would just be kind of cool if you're a dentist and you had a tooth knife. So that's the only thing.
Not
That
at
would
all.
be creepy at
Not at
all.
all.
Silence of the Lambs, anyone?
Now, you get them one with I've seen one with a coyote jawbone. That one's pretty cool. And you do like that bird's beak at the end with the, the part of the jawbone. Elephant molars, I've seen those. You could get that. I heard you go through a lot of drill bits when drilling through elephant molar.
Where do they get? Where do they
I
get?
Let me
was
do that
I
either.
was interested in mammoth tusk.
I have no idea. I have. Then
So-
I've also. Have you guys ever used?
And ivory's
What
expensive.
about moose antler? Y'all ever seen moose antler? Like a moose antler, you can get it almost, pure, where it almost looks like an ivory, right? With no pith or anything, and they sanded and ground off all of the texture on the outside, and so would work for really good, inlays or spacers on a segmented scale.
Yeah,
Moose dung, yeah.
Moose
Or
dung, yeah.
moose
Well,
dung.
I knew
Acrylic-
Chip had an affinity
acrylic.
for moose.
I do like
Right?
moose, and I could make a moose dung if I could get 50-pound bag of it, make some acrylic scales. But before I do that, I kind of keep all of my scales to wood, brass, stainless steel, antler material, and I don't deviate too much from that. I'm not a big micarta person, even though I think micarta handles and everything can be beautiful. It's just not something that appeals to me. And we all have the things we like. But the past couple of weeks, we've moved our studio to Riverside FM, and we've got this new studio where we're doing so much better with where we were. So I've been working on that. Hopefully this will sound 100% better when we put it out there this week. And I started a series of fleshing knives, Fleshing, fleshing knives. And I have some guys that are a group of hunters, and they all want these little knives that have about just under 3-inch blade on them, small handles that fit real. You can carry it as an EDC, small pins, antler handles, and have a lanyard hole in the middle, so if they want to hang it around their neck when they're fleshing out a deer or whatever they've gone hunting for, pig, so on, or they can carry it as an EDC and just put a smaller lanyard on it. So I'm getting quite excited about getting those turned out. But I will tell you, let's go ahead and move on into our next section because it sounds like we have been quite busy, and you guys have been busy. You have brought a lot to the table the past couple of weeks, and I want to make sure we get to that. One of the things that we had some people inquiring about, and they wanted to really know, talk about getting started in knife making and that basic equipment we all use. Here I am still using a 2x42, and it does a great job for what I do, but I do know its limitations, and that's why I aspire to move up. But we've all had different levels, whether it's a 1x30 or files or whatever, so I thought we would jump in there right now. Hey guys, what was your source of inspiration when you first decided to make knives? Many go to the books and also some go to the web, but many also head to YouTube for videos. Well, we are fortunate enough to have Eric Rivers from the Rivers Experience as a co-host on the Knives Templars. But you know what? He's also a sponsor, and I tell you, 27,000 followers can't be wrong in following his skilled and educational regular videos that teach the fine arts of making beautiful knives. I know because I'm a subscriber to his channel, and I learned at my pace and without making those mistakes by walking in the dark regarding knife making. Be sure and check out his channel, The Rivers Experience, on YouTube, or his website at theriversexperience.com. And now back to our show.
I'll go first. So when I first started, out of curiosity mostly, on a drum, I cut off a drum in half and threw some charcoal in there and started beating on a leaf spring. Made my first knife there, and but it wasn't enough. So, and I also at the time I had a 1x30 from Harbor Freight. Was able to make a couple of knives there, but it's very slow progress. And then as soon as I could, I jumped all the way to a 2x72 from OBM. Really good little grinder there, and been working with it for some time now. I like it a lot. That's how I started there. Simple.
So you made your first
motor
knife
oil
with
for.
You made your first knife with a 1x30 using the 80 and 120 grit that you can get at the Harbor Freight.
Yes, sir. That's how it went.
Yeah, kind of how I started mine too. Yeah.
We all start somewhere. It's.
I talked about on the last one.
Yeah, we all literally.
I talked
start
about on the
somewhere.
last one using an angle grinder, but for the first knife. But after that, I used a hand file jig. I think it was Aaron Goff had a video online of just using a hand file jig with a couple of 2x4s and an eye bolt, and you can change the eye bolt to get the height, to get the right angle, and it's you spend a couple hours easy per side just to get a pretty rough finish. And then as far as heat treat, a couple of soft fire bricks. Eric, I think you've done this one before. A couple of soft fire bricks, and then I actually just drilled a hole through the side and used a MAP gas torch.
Yep.
To where I can get the MAP gas torch going because it's a little hotter than the the propane, and that, and then some canola oil in an old paint can, and there you go. That's I mean, that's the basic stuff if you want to get started. If you want to start, you want to hammer one out, you could get it up to temperature using that charcoal type thing, and then you don't even need an anvil. You just need some what they call an ASO, an anvil shaped object, right? A big piece of steel, railroad track, big chunk of steel. Go down to the scrapyard and ask them if they got a big old piece of steel that's just lying around that you can buy off of them, and get that, set it on a stump, and go to town with a Harbor Freight hammer.
Yeah.
Right? You don't need much to get started.
Yeah.
Even a Harbor Freight anvil.
100%.
They're not that expensive.
I mean, those are kind of soft. If you bring
Yeah,
a
they
small
are.
little pin hammer, and you just tap it a little bit, and you're gonna see a little ding forming. Yeah, it's not good. Imagine you pounding on a piece of steel with a a 3 or 5 pounder. It's gonna go like mush, 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 mush.
Yeah.
It's not gonna be
Just
good.
don't
I
miss.
mean, if someone's
You learn
Yeah.
not to miss, right?
yeah,
You put a dent in that
There you
anvil
go,
real
Chris.
quick.
yeah,
All right. Well, I started watching videos on YouTube, and I saw the guys with those eye bolt files, and I'm like, no man, I ain't doing that. So and as I got interested in it, I was like, I got to figure out how to do it. So I commend you, Chris, on turning a knife out that way, and I commend the guys.
I
that
did
do.
too.
I'm not. Yeah, I'm
Wow.
not. And I'm not putting it down because
That was it, too.
yeah. But I started out watching videos. I'm sure I saw some of Eric's, but a lot of guys were using 1x30s. I saw how they were heat treating their knives, and some guy said you need a hair dryer and a pipe and a hole in the ground. And so my very first knife, I did it on a 1x30, patterned it out, profiled it, filed it down, dug a hole in the ground, put a couple fire bricks on both sides to reflect the heat back, stuck a pipe in it that I drilled some holes in, and put the steel in there, and walked away and came back, and my knife melted. So I know I still got the melted knife. I had 2 knives that day, so then I put the second knife in and I stuck with it, and it came out. And I actually hardened it and used motor oil from a friend of mine who owns a gas station in town. And turned out actually a nice looking first knife. I mean, for a first knife, it was a knife. I got applauded on it, and I look at it now and I'm like, I can't believe I made that thing. But the thing is that so many people thought it was cool. It inspired me to keep moving forward, and the guy who's got it still treasures it today. But I realized very quickly efficiency, belt chatter, the ability to get down on my hands and knees is not as fun as it was when I was your guys' age. So I built myself a forge, a wood forge. I'd sat and looked at the Whitlocks online for some time, and I'm like, I can build one of those. So I built a forge that's it's got perlite and clay and sand in it, and then it's got lined with fire bricks, and then I have a plumbing system with black pipe going up into it. So similar to like a Whitlock's, you've got a series of holes that I can close off and open up, and then I've got a blower fan down below that unit that blows air up into it, and I can create heat all day long. But I will tell you, I enjoy that forge. I enjoy that I make it, and probably it's that same progression that we always do. I'm in the process right now of upgrading to a propane forge that probably a year from now will be some type of heat treat oven. On the grinder side, I'm just waiting for June to get here, because in June I'm going to get a 2x72, because essentially, as we've mentioned, the 2x42 is a great shop grinder for whatever you're doing around the house. But for knife making, I think, again, it's a natural transition. People will hit something on that economy scale that they can jump into. And I'm selling knives, and people are very happy with the knives that I'm making. So I'm turning out some nice knives. But the biggest thing with that is I have to be very careful not to destroy the temper or to burn up a knife or to mess up the profile or something, because it It does run so fast. I think Chris was saying that earlier that you um, you have to make up for that 1/3 horsepower by running it at 80 miles or 80,000 miles an hour to be able to get the grind out of it. So it'll be nice to get a variable speed in the future and just keep going from there. I know that we've got a new sponsor, so I'll be looking at their grinders and probably where I will start first. But there's a bunch of great ones out there, so we'll see where I end up. But I'm going to give our Mara Braid that first look and see what they got. I have a feeling from what I've already seen online.
Question for you:
Yeah, man.
Are you heat treating your blades before you grind it, or
Yeah,
because
I've
if
thought of,
if you're doing your heat treat afterwards, there is no issue with your burning your blade on a grinder. It's just not gonna affect it.
well, I actually do my heat treating after I do a grind, and I grind it down to about 1.5 millimeters on the cutting edge, and then I heat treat them, and then I go back and clean off that scale and the everything with a second grinding and take it down just to the edge where I'm going to sharpen it. And that seems to do very good, and I don't burn any steel and ruin my hardening and my temper by doing that. The tip is an easy place to destroy the end of a knife, so I have found that works quite well for me, and I'm using a lot of water and a lot of water dips to make sure I keep that blade cool. So I'm looking forward to going to a 2x72 with a variable speed and being able to get rid of some of those demons that we deal with on those high speed grinders.
Yeah, right about now I'm wishing I had a VFD. Mine is my grinder is still full blown horse and a half motor from
Now you
Harbor
can add a
Freight.
VFD to that, right?
But it's yeah, I can. It's just that I've been looking into them, and some are like, "Ooh, there's a whole new grinder there just on a VFD."
I
I
see.
mean, I've been working fine for now, up to now, full blown open horse and a half going full speed on my grinder. But sometimes I wish I had a speed control there that I could bring it down to a more subdued speeds in there. I'll probably be gonna be getting one soon enough. It's just that I need to sell a few more blades so I can afford that thing.
I
I've
was gonna
seen
say, as
one.
beautiful as
I've seen a couple of grinders, and they already come with the VFD. But it's like, wow, man, this is spicy right there. There's a kind of salty price on that thing. But I'm
It
gonna have to
is.
take the plunge.
It's worth it though. I got somebody recommended when I bought mine that they said buy the VFD. You won't be disappointed. Buy once, cry once. And when I was doing that Damasteel knife, I mean, I've got that edge down to 12,000ths of an inch, and I put a soft platen on. I use a soft platen with some old. I've got one that's leather. I've got one that's made from old Scotch-Brite belts, and I've got one that's made from some industrial wool. And so I can go in with a 400 grit belt, and there is no belt chatter, right? Because I'm working that, and I crank that speed down to 30, and I'm sitting there and I'm working the tip, and I can make multiple passes on that tip real slow before I have to dunk it in water, and just real soft passes. And I got it all the way up to 400 grit, and that was what I showed you guys and what I posted out to Instagram and stuff. That was a 400 grit belt finish. Right off, got all the scratches, went straight into. Started tonight with some 600 grit hand sanding, and I only hand sanded 600 grit for maybe about 5 minutes, and I was done. Like all the 400 grit's gone, and then moving right up. So it's having that VFD. Plus, if you're working handle material, especially if you start getting into some of the micartas, paper micarta, you can burn paper micarta real fast. And I did paper micarta, tried it once on the 2x42 and swore it off and said I'd never use it again. And one of our sponsors talked me into using it again going forward. Now that I've got the VFD, I can slow it down, and it's nice and smooth, and it is definitely, if you're going to invest in a 2x72, just save a few extra bucks and get that VFD. I don't think you'll regret it at all.
Eric, tell us about your journey into knife making.
Well, for one, VFD is one of my future purchases. I made the awesome mistake of getting a belt drive. The three different little pulley belt drive set up on mine, and yeah, I plan on going to direct drive and VFD. For one, I want to be able to go forwards and reverse. The being able to reverse your belt is something that I've seen a lot of knife makers do that I just think is amazing, and I really want to be able to do that. So I'd agree. VFD is huge. Now, I've always had a very simple way to tell people for like beginning knife makers, keep it very, very, very simple. Invest the least amount of money possible and make a knife, and then decide if you want to be a knife maker as a hobbyist or whatever, and then start investing your money. Don't go into it and drop a ton of money and then decide, oh, well, man, this guy, I'm not into this. This is not me. I don't want my whole shop being covered in steel dust, because that will happen. And you've got to decide that this is something that you want to do. But I will tell you this. I watch videos of people using file jigs, and you'll have a quarter of the comments people saying, you didn't forge it. Are you really a knife maker? If you only knew how much work it took to hand file a knife, and I'm not just talking about the bevels, but also the finger choil, the handle, the spine, draw filing, all that stuff, that is so time consuming. And if you're willing to put that much work into a knife, you are a knife maker. And this is something that you should be doing if you're willing to put that much work into it. And it takes so much work. So for the people who think that all knife making is what you see on Forged in Fire, you're incorrect. You don't need all those tools. Those tools are helpful, but it's not a necessary thing. Get yourself a little forge that you can make from home. There's about 30 videos on YouTube to learn how to make a small forge with a map gas, propane torch, all kinds of different things. Get yourself a 1x30, and then one of my biggest things that I suggest people get is a drill press. We always do so many other tools, but being able to drill straight holes through things is absolutely amazing for your fit and finish on your handles. So absolutely get a drill press and focus on fit and finish, because if you want to be a knife maker, you really need to be able to put out a quality product. There are so many knife makers out there that don't focus on fit and finish, and you're not really doing your customer a real service if you're giving them something that has grind lines in the tang from your handle shaping and all that stuff. So focus more on fit and finish. You don't need expensive tools to be able to do that. Just take your time.
It's interesting that you say that, because
use hand tools to do it.
I learned,
And that's what
whether
got.
it was when I was making fishing lures or moose dung pottery, or all the things I've done in my life, remote control airplanes I was into, but with knives, the same thing applies. When something's completed, you can't sand it or paint all your imperfections away. You've got to pay attention to the little steps in each step that you do to make sure it's square, it's true.
Nope.
Now, a knife itself every knife I make is 57 mistakes corrected as I made it. And what I mean by that, they're not always physical mistakes. It's just things that you go along the way as you're putting it in order, but also being able to go back and make sure that, like you said, the fit and the finish, the sanding, the little details, because as it comes together, you don't end up with all those funky little things that stick out here and there that say, I wish I could fix that, but I can't do it now. Other thing you mentioned, I think, is really kind of funny, because I've had people say this to me, like, well, do you forge knives, or
Yep.
do you just remove the steel? And I'm like, I make knives. There's people that are blacksmiths. Yeah, there's people that do stock removal. I have beat some steel into place. I've never made steel. I've never made Damascus. Damascus doesn't particularly interest me. But at the end of the day, you're a knife maker, whether you forge or remove steel. And I can do both, but it's just a crazy comment when I get it.
Yeah, I have something to say about that too. Right now, it's so easy to get perfectly made steel, perfect grain, perfect structure, perfect thickness, whatever width and length that you ever think about. You can get it right now with the click of a mouse, okay? And honestly, all I do right now is right now at the moment is stock removal. That's what I do. I plan in the future to start forging some things. I want to do some Damascus and stuff. But look, let's say I go to, I buy a 1084 piece of steel. That steel comes as perfect as it gets from the manufacturer. Is soft, is annealed, is ready to work,
Spheroidized.
right? Ready to work. And okay, I grab that 2-inch wide piece of steel, quarter-inch thick. What are my options there? Beat it into shape, screw up, quote unquote, screw up the structure of the steel, run the risk of damaging the steel, right? Because you're hitting and beating, hitting and beating. And then after that, if you don't do a proper normalizing cycle in there, if you don't do, at least 3 normalizing cycles, I mean, what are the chances that you're going to split that steel the first hit that you give it on a branch or something? I just don't see a real value of me forging and beating a blade unless I'm chopping from an axle, or like they do on Forged in Fire. Oh, take a piece of this axle and beat it into a knife for me, right? Right now it's just so easy, quote unquote, to get good quality steel, as perfect as it gets, better than what you're gonna get, by forging something. This is just me, right? Um, but as I said,
Notice here, that's my biggest pet peeve is the comments on, well, did you forge it or did you stock removal or did you just stock removal? Right, all steel's forged, right? Just like you said, all steel's forged. If you read Dr. Laren Thomas's book, Knife Engineering, he talks about it. All steel, they take it and it goes from like a 10-inch thick billet, and they cold roll it or they hot roll it down to a 1/4 inch. So what you did with your Thor hammer, that last extra little bit, didn't do anything. I've gotten in arguments with bladesmiths who tell me that, well, by hammering it, I'm compacting the grain and I'm making it tougher on the edge. I'm like, you don't understand how physics works, right? Dr. Thomas actually has a blog post about this. Sure, every time you're hammering it, you're breaking the crystalline structure to make the crystals smaller. But the second you put it right back in the forge to bring it up to temperature, the grain grows. And now you're hammering it. And so it grows, and then you break it down. And it grows, and you break it down. And then what happens? What do we all do? We normalize, right? We put it through some normalization cycles, and that helps soften and shrink the grain before we then go in and heat treat. So it's BS. Anybody that tells me that, you just stock removal, I just look at them and nod my head and say, thank you, you're not my customer.
nah, man. You know
right?
what? You know what you should say. You know what you should say? I thought about it. Oh, I hand forged it under a blue moon, butt naked on the night. Beat it with my 2 Thor hammers there for 10 hours.
See, I don't want
I
to picture
ground
that.
these bevels in with my teeth.
Yeah, see, Rambo in the woods
You
was
know,
fine,
bare
but
hands.
naked Pinto and
Because
Yeah.
what I notice is what people like is the mysticism of making a knife, like they see on a movie, some old master in the mountain beating a piece of molten steel, by the way, right? The way they see, it's like it's like a what you call it, a honey or syrup, right? That they drop on the mold. Is that what they think the knife making is? That's not.
No, but you know what? I don't want to take anything away from blacksmith, because what they do and what we've done, us that have beat on some steel, to take something that is that hot and be able to move it and mold it and put it into the shape that they
It's an
desire,
artwork.
That's an
course it
art
is.
in itself. But to say in knife making, do you do this or that? It makes no sense. But if you say, are you a blacksmith or a knife maker or both? There's a question to answer there. But yeah, it doesn't really matter to me which way.
So, real quick, one of the things that I want to hit on within that little subject just real quick on that subject. Most of the knives that those people buy who say that stuff, they
Yes.
bought their knives from Walmart, from Academy, and all these different things, and none of
No.
those knives are
It's all
forged
stock removal.
to shape. They're all stock removal. Almost every pocket knife that you will ever get is going to be
Yes.
a
What
stock
about the
removal
forged in
pocket
fire
knife.
cutlery
Most of them
set
are done
at
by
Walmart?
machines, not humans. So, just some of
Dude.
those people. Hey, and that's definitely hardly done by hand. But I will tell you, me personally, I like
do too.
forging knives. I like stock removal.
me
I like
too.
both processes. And I've mentioned this in videos. Whenever it boils down to it, I do a particular step to get a particular outcome. I'm not going to force myself to do some other step because some people think it looks cool. If it helps me get from point A to point B, I'll do it. And then I switch to the other process. You're not going to forge a knife completely to shape and not do any stock removal. In order to put an edge on the knife, you've got to do stock
I will
removal.
say, when I see you normalizing,
It's always going to happen. So for the people who think that you can only do it
Yeah,
one way or the
I
other,
see
I
you
do
normalizing
have
a knife
plans
on.
to-
Just a second. When I see you normalizing a knife on your YouTube page and you're hanging them on those nails on that wooden table, and you've got those burn marks on the table across there, I know you're fine. But I'm just like, man, that table's going to catch on fire one of these days.
Better than the burn marks that used to be on the wall of his of the shop with the forge burning the wood, charring it in the background. That one freaked me out.
So the table is made of metal. The table's all steel. So it's just
Oh,
the
okay.
thing that the nails are nailed into, that it's
I'm
wood.
like,
Everything
he's
else is
hanging
all
that
steel.
red hot
I learned my lesson
steel
from
on
that.
those wooden nails. Gosh, but
So
I
on that little bit, right? On that little bit, I do plan on making me a completely forged knife. I'm gathering some ball bearings from the shop, and I'm gonna be buying me some 1095 powdered steel, and I wanna make a canister Damascus. I don't wanna do anything big. I don't know, maybe 3-4 inches long, but inch square maybe, and
But are you gonna do it naked in the woods?
naked in the
with a
woods.
blue moon or something.
There's a special kind of
I'm
PPE
I'm waiting
required
for a blue moon so I
What?
can do it
If
naked
I
in the
can give
woods.
you,
naked forging
Why-
requires some special PPE.
Hey man,
Yeah.
If I can give you
Viking
any
style,
advice.
right? Chip knows what it is.
That's
so
not Viking style. That's just
if
weird.
I could give you any advice on that canister,
Go ahead, Eric.
hey, if I can give you any advice on that canister, I'll tell you, get yourself some stainless steel tube. So whatever you do, don't get a mild steel tube from like a square tubing from Lowe's or something like that. Order yourself some stainless steel tubing, and that stuff will almost never weld itself to that stainless steel. So that way, whenever you go to peel off the can, it's a cakewalk.
Yeah, good tip right there. Hey, I
Hey,
was
that's
gonna ask you
that's
about
a
it.
Templar tip, as I want to
Yeah.
coin the term.
Yeah. I was gonna
Templar's
ask you
tip.
about it because I never done it before and I'm interested in doing it. So I have some a can full of ball bearings that I keep it in oil to keep it from oxiding, or getting rusty and stuff. So when I'm ready, I do need to get me an anvil too, so I can really put a pounding in that thing, so I can compact it and get it.
Well,
nice
when
and
we talk
welded.
about, this particular segment
Aren't-
is about, how we start out and the ways that we grow. And I didn't go with the Harbor Freight anvil. I actually got a steel anvil off of Amazon, and it's not a forged anvil. It's a what's the term for it? Cast steel anvil. And I'll be
Yeah.
honest with you, I have beat all over that thing. I cleaned it
Cast.
up, I dressed it, I put an anti rust treatment on there. That I'd seen some stuff on YouTube on how to set them up, and I'll post some pictures of my anvil. But I mean, I've beat everything all over it, and there's not one dent in it. It's just been wonderful. And I did dress it,
Yeah.
rounded off the edges, and did everything that some of the professional guys were out there saying, hey, this isn't a bad anvil, good price. I think I paid like $160 for a 60 or 70 pound anvil.
Yeah, I had looked at that same anvil when I was looking for one. Yeah, I ended up going a different route. I got a Kenka. It's drop forged, double horn, 110 pound. Uh, but I mean, that anvil you have, I know someone that personally has it. It is a good anvil.
Yeah, and also like what Chris said earlier, hurt now or pay now or whatever. What was that term, Chris?
Buy once, cry once.
Yeah, there you go. So I mean,
Yeah.
you've got something that you can keep forever, and this one I very well may as well. But who knows? Like this particular segment is, start out with what you can afford. There's many ways to make those blades, and work yourself up. And I will tell you, a good place for learning and going through those steps is not only YouTube and the Rivers Experience. There's many great videos out there, but also joining TRE on or the Rivers Experience on Facebook, and team up with a bunch of about 1,000 other knife makers out there that are contributing to lessons and how I did and what worked for me every day. So those are great sources out there, so that as you go and grow with your skills, you can set and move up along the lines, and you don't have to make the same mistakes that others did. You can learn from them. We're going to go ahead and break now and go into our next segment. But before we do, we want to introduce you to another sponsor who is providing some great scales in the knife making community.
As knife makers, we all know the importance of quality handle material. Something that's both tough yet beautiful will increase the value of your knives and allow you to build something that your customers will love. When it comes to the handle material for my knives, I choose Swikowski scales. Run by Sarah Halpane and her mentor Alex Swikowski, they have a combined 20 years experience making handles and knives. They offer stabilized burls, exotic hardwoods, vintage micartas, and some of the best segmented scales in the business. Find them on Instagram at Swikowski Scales or on their website, swikowskiscales.com. That's SWIECZKOWSKI scales.com.
I tell you, we've got a user of Swikowski scales, Chris, and I will tell you, if you check out Chris's Facebook page or some of the things he's doing on his website, it's steeldogknives.com, or please do visit Swikowski Scales website, and you will see some of the most beautiful scales that you can be adding to your knives and just taking it up another notch. So another great sponsor. But hey, listen, we've got, speaking of beautiful knives, beautiful scales, we've got some shows coming up now that we're getting into spring, and some of our guys here are headed to shows. I know that Eric and Joey and Chris have some upcoming stuff they're going to be doing and want to talk about, so I'm going to let them jump right in. And Eric, why don't you lead us off?
Well, I've got a show that I'm going to be going to in Dallas, which is, of course, with DFW area. It's one of the blade shows that they have going on down there. I'm actually trying to find the date for it. I'm pretty sure it is March 16th through 19th, and I'm going to be down there with a few other guys from the Dagger Challenge that we're doing. So we're going to be having them down there, plus myself, of course, which is going to be pretty cool. And it'll be Dennis Tyrell from Tyrell Knife Works, and a few of those cool guys. I'll definitely have to post that in the TRE Facebook page. So if y'all aren't part of that, y'all should definitely go check that out, because I'm going to have a whole event post for that. And that way you can come out, say hi to me. I'm not going to have a table or anything like that, but it'll be me, hanging out, walking around.
You know who is going to have a table there, though?
Enjoying the show.
Ameribraid Grinders. So you should stop by Ameribraid. I looked up the dates. It's March 18th, 19th. I really wanted to go, but the March 18th, I'm flying back into town. I think it's like a Friday, Saturday, and Friday I'm coming back into town for some vacation, and so I may not make it up that weekend to go on that Saturday. I would love to. There's a lot of great makers that I want to meet and talk to, but I've got to prepare for the show that I'm going to. So I've got one coming up in April, and then But before I get to that one, Joey, you got a show coming up too, right?
Yeah, it's actually, my show is actually in September 10th this year. It's the third annual Louisiana Knife Show 2022 over here in Lafayette, Louisiana. It's hosted by Louisiana Custom Knife Maker Association. You can find them on Facebook, Louisiana Knives and Knife Makers, or lacustomknives.net. But I also did get an invite to exhibit at the, I think it's your show, Chris, Texas Select Cutlery.
Yeah, that's they're a sponsor of ours, so I'm really excited about that, and we'll give a little bit of information about that in the sponsor. But yeah, it's put on by Cowboy Zamansky of Phoenix Knives, and he's out of Belleville, Texas, and so it's kind of south of College Station, a little bit west and north of Houston. And so it started as an event where they were bringing in a bunch of Forged in Fire competitors, and it's just grown to now, the Texas Knife Makers Guild and a whole bunch of other, Sarah from Swikowski Skills will be out there, and I'm going to have a table, so come by and stop by and say hi. But it is April 2nd and 3rd in Belleville, Texas, at the Austin County Event Center, and it's Texas Select Custom Cutlery event. So I think we've got a little spot here that's got all the details on how you can find out more information on that. But yeah, if we're at one of these shows, come by and say hi. Let us know that you're a listener of the Knives Templar. Phoenix Knives invites you to the Texas Select Custom Cutlery event, April 2nd and 3rd in Belleville. One of the largest knife shows in Texas, featuring forged in fire bladesmiths and knife makers from across the nation. Enjoy live forging demonstrations, chopping competitions, and shop for custom knives. Live auction, knife raffle, hot food, and cold beer all benefit local charities. Sponsored in part by Paragon Kilns, Ballistic Dummy Lab, and the Texas Knife Makers Guild. April 2nd and 3rd. Find us on TexasSelectEvent.com.
Well, I tell you guys, talking a little bit about your shows and also the Texas Select Custom Cutlery event. I know when I hear the word cutlery, I think kitchen cutlery. And honestly, I have not met anybody that doesn't make knives, that probably doesn't enjoy eating and cooking as well. So I was just kind of curious what you think you guys are some of the best dishes that you make, Reed. I know Eric's kind of proud of his steaks and this, that, and the other. I'm proud of my barbecue. So, you know what? Since I can already see Eric smiling in the video, I'm going to let him kick us off a little bit about what's good up there in the North Texas area as far as cooking around Eric's house.
So for one, yeah, I'm absolutely a steak person. I eat it very often, and a lot of people think, well, if you're eating steak that often, I mean, you must have a crazy budget for food. For one, if you're cooking your own steak, it's not super expensive, especially if you go and you befriend your local butcher. I mean, it really isn't that expensive to eat like that. It's whenever you go to, chain restaurants and eat their steak, and then they charge you an arm and a leg. For me, I cook it often, and I've got my own seasons that I use that I've made up and modified over the last few years, and I've kind of perfected it. I know exactly how long to cook them to get whatever temp I want. And if I have some psychopath that wants to eat one of my steaks as well done,
I just tell him
how to make a
leave.
juicy well done steak. But I will tell you this: don't do that to yourself. Yes, don't do it to yourself. It ain't worth it. If you want a well done steak, you need chicken
Or shoe leather.
You need to get yourself some chicken and eat chicken. And
Yeah,
steak is not your
Eric,
thing. Yes. If you don't like a juicy medium steak or medium rare or rare steak,
Well,
You
guy.
Steak
bring
ain't
up a
your
great
thing.
point, though, befriending your local butcher. Like, I haven't done that yet, but hey, maybe, what do butchers use? I think they use knives, right? So maybe if you offer to sharpen the butcher's knives, maybe he will give you a
Yes,
deal
they
on some
do.
steak. I'm just saying.
Yes.
Or you take him a nice two-sided dagger with
so I've lucked out. My local butcher,
Edward
Let him
Scissorhands
cut
of
up some
meat cutting.
tenderloin with it. Slicing tenderloin.
just start
Oh, man.
slicing
From a
them up.
I paid I'd pay to see that.
Yeah.
So here in
Yeah. It will kill.
So here in North
type
Alabama, or Alabama in general, we are all about the barbecue. And I grew up in North Carolina, and that's a vinegar-based barbecue. But I pride myself on either shoulder or butt pork. Cook that baby for about 14, 15 hours in a slow wood smoker. Sit out there and tend it the whole time, and when that thing comes off, just kind of watch it fall apart off the bone and peel it. Throw a little Alabama red sauce on it and eat for days. But it all comes down to the preparation. I run my smoker at about 225 degrees, but my meat, I set it out and let it come up to room temp. I cover that thing in yellow French's mustard, and then I take the Carolina Chips butt rub and smear all over that thing, which is a proprietary blend. And like I said, about 14 hours later, it's delicious. Last hour, as it's cooking, I take a little drink called Cheer Wine. And Cheer Wine is a cherry cola soda out of North Carolina I grew up drinking. And you just spray that outside of it, and the brown sugar and the peppers and the pepper and all of that kind of caramelizes on there, and it puts this nice crust. And I will tell you, you guys will probably never eat steak or avocados or whatever it is that you think is a great food ever again, but North Alabama pulled pork. How about you, Chris?
Well, I'm in Texas, so for me, it's barbecue's a little bit different, right? There's not a lot of it's not as much pork. It's more beef and a good brisket, but also Tex-Mex, right? I mean, I grew up in a Tex-Mex restaurant. My dad used to manage a Tex-Mex restaurant, and so for me, it's about tacos. And I'm not talking those hard shell tacos, like you get from Taco Bell. Don't get me wrong; those are good in a pinch. But I'm talking some fresh homemade flour tortillas. I like brisket tacos. Something about brisket. You were going to mix some Texas beef in with some Tex-Mex tacos and some brisket tacos with some grilled onions, fresh sliced jalapenos, some Monterey Jack cheese, a little bit of avocado. Grill that up. Almost, get that nice crispy flour tortilla, almost like a quesadilla. And man, eat that. There's a great place in Dallas that I try to mimic what they've done. It's called Mia's Tex-Mex, and if you're ever in Dallas, stop at Mia's. They have the best brisket tacos on the planet, but that might be one of my all-time favorite go-to meals.
Well, like Eric, I'm a steak guy. I love steak. If I go more than a couple of days without having a piece of nice bloody steak, I'll be feeling it. It's like an addiction almost. Basically, give me a cow on a nice fire pit, and I will munch through it like a termite, man. I just love steak, man.
As you're beating
like
Damascus under a blue moon in the nude.
There you go.
That's right. You go to Otisier's house. It's like going to one of those Brazilian churrascarias, right?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Talking about
man.
those, I need to find a place where we can dig a trench, right, and make a trench fire, and then you quarter the whole beef steer, and then you put it on the sides, fill up that thing with a lot of charcoal, and just let it go. I mean, that's a whole day event kind of deal. You start in the morning, and you end up in a food coma sometime at night. Okay, that's a steak day right there. I see Eric smiling there, man. He knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So I've been down to Brazil. I did a business trip down
exactly
to Curitiba
what you're
one time.
talking
I got
about.
a number of friends that are down in Brazil, and went to one of those churrascarias. And what is it? Picanha? Is that how you say it?
Oh yeah, picanha.
Oh
my
my
friend.
gosh,
Delicious, huh?
picanha. That's the best. Whenever I go to one of those Brazilian steak places, they always come out and they want to serve you chicken or bacon wrapped shrimp or and you're like, no, pass. Bring me the picanha. I want that picanha.
You know what's the seasoning there? You know what's the seasoning that we use in there?
Moose dung.
I like how he said it with such a straight face.
I think we've got the title for season 1, episode 3. Moose
No,
dung,
man,
the
it's
magic,
nice,
the magical ingredient.
Seasoning. No, man, it's simple seasoning, man. Just a coarse sea salt,
Yes.
a lot of it. And as you cooking it, that salt will melt, and it will. Uh, I think the word is osmosis. So the salt will penetrate all the way through into the meat, and it's like wow. A lot of people like to. That's one of the things I found weird here in America is that when you go to a barbecue, they stick onions and tomatoes and potatoes on a barbecue. I mean, come on, that's not a barbecue for me. When you talk about a barbecue, my idea of a barbecue is a whole cow on a fire.
What grit is that
Go
sea
ahead,
salt,
Chris.
by the way?
Exactly.
Is it
No,
36
Yeah,
grit sea
36
salt
grit
or
sea
no, that grit is probably gonna be around 15 grit. Sea
gotcha?
salt
Just
right
wanted
there.
to calibrate.
Yeah.
15, 24. It'll take fingerprints off.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people there do put the whole hog on a barbecue. Not a big fan of the swine unless it's kind of disguised on a hot dog or a pepperoni or something. The whole hog, I mean, it's kind of not a big fan. I had it before, didn't really like it the way I like steak.
Just like Samuel L. Jackson said, right? You don't dig on swine.
Yeah,
Pulp Fiction.
I don't dig the pig.
Don't dig the pig.
That's a really good one.
Yeah, that
actually.
might be the title. Dig the pig.
We've got so many,
the pig.
moose dung and dig the pig. I think that's it right there.
What a,
Yeah,
What
right.
about
Riot.
Riot?
Riot's in Louisiana. They got some
Yeah,
great food.
I
in
seen
Louisiana.
him. I seen him cooking
So-
some crawdads or something, man. That's
It's that season.
So,
Mud bugs.
yes, sir. So, as much as I like steak and barbecue, I mean, I'm from Louisiana. I mean, we got Cajun cuisine over here. I'm talking about shrimp
alligator
etouffee.
tails.
I'm talking about conchon de lait. I'm talking about all these good Cajun cuisines. I mean, man, I mean, you just name it.
See, we all
But,
sound
I
like
mean,
1084 steel
got-
right now, and
and-
he sounds like, Dama
Roots
steel.
Damascus or something.
Yeah, with his
I-
description.
I,
Like y'all are just making 1084, man. I'm
So
eating
I-
Damascus.
I actually dig the pig, so I like doing the conchon de lait. I mean, you get it, you roast the pig all day, you cut out the little gratons in there so you can get the crackling in the skin. I mean, and then you get a little piece of bacon on it. It's like, oof, man, it's a heart attack waiting to happen. But I mean, it's so good. I mean, and there's so many dishes over here. I mean, it's just hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is a good heart
good
attack.
heart
You hear how his
It's too
Creole
many
speak
dishes.
went up to about a factor
Oh,
of
yeah,
10
it
when he
comes
started
out.
talking about food.
Yes, I noticed.
That accent comes out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I noticed. Yeah.
You know what I've
It's,
learned? You know what I've learned though with this segment? I should have eaten before we did this podcast because I am starving right now.
So what
You and me
this talk
both.
of food.
what do you say when you go out to kill the pig to eat it? Just like shoot it, man, shoot it. Is that
Shoot him.
Oh,
Shoot him.
shoot him! Shoot him!
Shoot him,
Shoot
Shoot him,
him!
Lisbon.
Shoot him!
Shoot him, Lisbon.
Motherfricker! Shoot him!
I met him one time. He was pretty cool. He sounds like that in real life.
Oh yeah, Troy Landry.
yeah.
He's a cat, man.
Yeah.
He's a cat.
I think he's wearing the same shirt too, like he's wearing in every episode for like 9 seasons.
The one that doesn't fit.
Yeah.
Hey guys, I think I'm looking forward to us all to get together. We're going to have to have a potluck when we come together, and we'll see just how much we enjoy each other. And I am looking a little forward to some of that Louisiana food. That sounds great. Let's go ahead and get us another sponsor ad in here, and we'll be right back.
All knife makers need abrasives, plain and simple. Here at Knives Templars, we're proud to partner with Phoenix Abrasives. I used to get my belts from another company, but they spent more time on marketing than they did customer service, sometimes taking 2+ weeks to ship my order. That's not the case with Phoenix Abrasives. They're obsessed with committing all of their resources to customer satisfaction. Whether you're using a 2x72, 2x42, 1x30, or something else, they've got you covered. They even carry Rhino Wet Sandpaper. So go to phoenixabrasives.com/shop and enter promo code Templars10 for 10% off your next order.
Hey everyone, welcome back. We got a question in the other day. Someone was asking about what was our favorite movies that we like to watch. So Chris, you want to take that one?
Oh, I can, yeah. I mean, for me, my go-to favorite movie of all time is Empire Strikes Back. It was the time I was when I was a kid when it came out. It just made a huge difference to me. I absolutely love it. But if I had to go like top three, I'm thinking that one, probably Pulp Fiction. I love Pulp Fiction. Again, another time in my life when I was a teenager when that came out. And then I don't know on the third one. I love a good Princess Bride. That's a great story to follow along. But I don't know. That's what I'm gonna go with. Empire Strikes Back, Pulp Fiction, Princess Bride. That's my top three. If they're on and I see them on, I have to watch, and I gotta watch to the end.
Princess
So,
Bride.
nice.
What? Yeah, it's a great movie, man. It's got everything. It's got
It's a
swords.
good
so
movie.
he's sword maker. It's quotable. It's really good. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. My
It's got
wife
Columbo.
likes it. Kids
It's got
like
Columbo in it, so it's cool. Columbo.
You know,
You know who Columbo was?
Columbo was in that. Oh
That
yeah,
was
that's
the-
right.
yeah,
he was
he
the
played the grandfather.
Yeah, he read it to the kid. Fred Savage, right? Fred Savage was the little
Yeah.
kid from the Wonder
Yeah.
Years, right?
Peter Falk.
No,
think, was the guy
I
who
like
played
that movie.
Columbo.
Andre the Giant. I mean, come on, that's a great movie. I hope they
Well,
never remake it.
I'm gonna shut this down right here real quick. My top three is Smokey and
Oh, never.
Smokey and the
remake that.
Bandit is number
Smokey
one.
and the Bandit.
Smokey and the Bandit is number two, and Smokey and the Bandit is number three. Now that's not Smokey and the Bandit 1, 2, and 3. That's the original Smokey the Bandit 3 times. Anytime it's on, you got to watch it. I will put anything by Clint Eastwood as number 4, 4 through 100. Smokey and the Bandit.
Through 100.
It's pretty valid.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's-
the top 100
mine are all
movies is
from one
Smokey and the
era.
Bandit. That's it.
The problem is, Chip, I think you and I were the only ones that were alive when Smokey and the Bandit came out. And, well, maybe not, because let's see, I'm looking it up here. It came out in 1977. Depends on what month. I might not have been born yet, so you might have been the only one alive
Yeah.
when this movie came out. It's a good movie, don't get me wrong, but
Was not alive.
you're showing your age a little bit.
Hey, I enjoy a good El Diablo sandwich and a Dr. Pepper. There's a lot of things you can quote in there too, man. Hey, Bandit, got you? Yeah.
See, mine
Oh,
are all
Hey,
from
Eric,
the
got your
80s.
ears on? Breaker 19.
Yeah.
What do you have to say? What are yours, Eric?
Yeah. No, mine are literally all from the 80s. So, of course, I'm a
Good
Highlander
move.
guy. So, Highlander, and then we're gonna go with Lost Boys.
Good.
Yeah.
You know, that's some of the people have never heard of these particular things. Hopefully, they would. And the one that most people never, ever, ever, ever heard of. It's called The Wraith.
I think I heard about it, but
Yeah. What do you think it's about? I highly doubt y'all know what that movie's about.
no.
I don't know. I never heard of it.
It's got Charlie Sheen in it.
Oh, is it the one where the guy that's
Wraith?
driving the fancy
So,
the car, the ghost driver?
Basically, he comes. He
Is
yes,
that it? The ghost driver?
with the car.
Yeah.
Yes. With with like the Plymouth. It's like crazy looking car from that era. Of course, it is a really futuristic car, but he comes back to life and ends up taking out all these street racers that take people's cars pink slips and take their cars and soup them up and race them and all that stuff. But he comes back to life and he's a wraith. and
Wikipedia's
takes
got a
them out.
great one-line
Y'all should watch it.
description.
You probably
here.
like
High
it.
school hero returns from the dead to take revenge against the psychedelic drag racer who killed him. Okay.
Wow.
Or psychotic, not psychedelic. Psychotic. That's okay. I've never seen this movie.
Yes.
I might have to.
He
go
must have been. He
Yeah.
must have been doing that
Yeah, I'm
tiger
thinking I
blood
might
or
have to
whatever he was
watch it.
drinking at the time.
I-
Wasn't it?
Tiger blood.
Sheen was drinking tiger blood.
Eric, I thought you were going to go with Highlander, and then you're going to segue into like Conan the Barbarian, and then Rambo, and it's like, well, we all know why you became a knife maker. I can watch all three of those.
Hey,
yeah.
I could watch those. No, I yes, but those are the ones that if those ever just came on TV,
Hey, you drop everything you do.
I would watch them because like Lost Boys was that. Yeah, it was that weird movie where you're not used to for people who've never watched Lost Boys. Lost Boys is like if you want to go with like the Vampire Diaries of the 80s, because these guys did not look dangerous in any way, shape, or form with their one earring
Mullets.
and their moosed up hair and all that
from
stuff.
the skies,
but,
baby.
but they were badasses.
Okay, Pinto says, I can already guess. Pinto, or Otisir, excuse me. I sometimes use last names. I hope that's okay. Otisir, I would say yours is anything with Arnold Schwarzenegger in it and a big knife.
Yes.
Rambo.
Oh man, how did you know? Well, my go-to is Predator.
He
Predator,
likes Jason.
the
Predator,
original
okay.
Predator. If I see that movie on, I'll stop and watch it. And not only that, every now and then I will search it on demand and I will watch it again. I'm also
about
a
Predator?
big fan of the whole Alien trilogy. Sigourney Weaver and the whole Alien trilogy. I love those movies, man. Even the new ones that came out, which was kind of a little iffy, but still okay.
Wasn't
That
there a
segues
movie
to
like
Alien
Predator
versus
versus
Predator?
Predator versus Alien or something?
AVP was okay.
We just call it AVP.
AVP.
He just shortens.
AVP
When
is
you're-
okay, but not my favorite one. And the last Predator, don't get me started there, man. They really messed that one up. But yeah, I mean, I'm a big
I wish I had a
sci-fi.
little soundboard to make the noise.
Big sci-fi and action movies. A little bit of Jason Voorhees with the Friday the 13th. Not a big fan of Halloween. Never pulled me in there. But yeah, this is the kind of movies that give me a nice sleep and beautiful nightmares at night. And I do enjoy my nightmares.
Is it because Jason's knife's bigger?
Maybe. I'm working on something.
What did you said? A clip point machete or something like that? He needs?
clip point karambit or no clip point kukri.
Yeah.
Right? He's gonna make this Rambo kitchen knife. Ooh. A Rambo kitchen knife with serrated teeth on the back. There you go. Otis, that's your next knife.
Yes.
Nice.
Sawback kitchen knife.
Yes, with Saul.
So let me guess,
Believe
Joey.
it or not, a lot of people will ask, "Yo, do you do teeth or do you do serrations on your knives and stuff?" Oh, what do you want it for? I don't know. I just want it. I mean,
If you're not cutting bread, you don't need it.
yep.
That's right.
Yep.
Joey, what's your favorite movie?
need a sharp knife.
I would say is it The Water Boy?
Bobby Boucher. Mama said. No. No, I actually like Scarface. That's probably one of my
that's
favorite
Good
a good
movies.
one,
Yeah.
Yeah, I like Scarface. And also,
Any gangster movie, right?
The Godfather,
Goodfellas. Those are all good.
Oh, Goodfellas.
Goodfellas,
Yeah, that's
yeah. The Sopranos.
so there.
I don't know. Some just draws me to watching those, and I like the Die Hard series, and
Is it a Christmas
one of my
movie,
favorite
though?
movies.
Where do you stand on is Die Hard a Christmas movie? No, it's not.
Yeah,
No, it's not. We could have a whole episode.
it's a
about
Christmas
this, but
movie.
No, it's not.
yeah,
Yes,
but
it is.
I don't know. I'm kind of torn.
Okay, so you have to pick one movie now. Okay, no more top three. What's the top five? Chris, what's your number one movie?
Top five.
Oh, number one. I mean, number one for me is Empire Strikes Back. Always.
Empire Strikes Back. Eric.
I don't see that. I don't see that changing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Eric. Moana.
Right.
Moana,
Oh yeah. For me, it
I
was
was gonna
Frozen. It was
because I'm a
Frozen.
dad of children.
Cars.
And before that, it was Cars.
Yeah.
Cars.
Yep. I was fixing to say that.
Joey, if you had to throw away all other movies. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, give Eric a real choice.
number
Don't let him live with Moana. Don't let him stay with Moana.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. No, number one, man, if I had to just pick one movie, I'm gonna go with, oh man, it would actually have to be, now that you mentioned it, the number one Predator, like the original Predator. If I was gonna just pick one movie that I could literally say all the lines from front to back.
Chewing
it would
tobacco
be
on
the
a
original
helicopter
Predator.
and calling yourself a sexual tyrannosaurus.
Joey, what's your number
saying,
one,
it's
man?
Tyrannosaurus.
What's your number one,
Okay.
Joey?
My number one? Oh, man. Number one. Man, I think I'd have to go with Stephen King's It.
Good movie.
The newer one, though. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's something about Pennywise, man. He
I
just
can't do it.
Good movie.
I can't do it. I had a babysitter when I was like, whenever the original It came out. I don't remember what year it was, but I wasn't very old. And babysitter came over and she watched It. I think I was probably like 5 or 6 or something. And no, it scarred me for life. I can't do it. No clowns.
Oh, my dude.
Didn't
Nope.
go
Oh,
close
no.
to a drain
Nope.
after that. It was shower drains, done.
I tell you, another pretty creepy movie is part of the Conjuring series, The Nun. Dude. Hello.
The Ring. Did you see The Ring?
Yeah.
I
How
did.
many of y'all watched
the original?
like
Oh,
the
yeah.
Blob
Yeah, too.
whenever y'all were little?
Or The Fog.
I did.
The original.
Yeah, the original is, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That'll
What
mess
about
with you.
you,
Yeah.
Otisir? What's your number one movie if you had to throw every other movie out?
Predator. Original. Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm gonna
That
go
right
with,
there for me is timeless. I mean,
We-
as I said before. I
We
mean,
know what Chip's going to pick. It's
No,
Smokey and
no.
the Bandit, too.
No. Well, here's my favorite quote from my favorite movie. Some people call it a sling blade. I call it a Kaiser blade. That wasn't really a good Carl Childers, was it? Well, some people call it. Here's Carl. Some people call it a sling blade. I call it a Kaiser blade. Sling blade, man. Good movie. Good movie. We've had a long show today. We're well over an hour and a half into this, so probably time we kind of wind it on down because we're going to have to spend some time in our shops this weekend and get some knives turned out. So with that being said, Otisir, what are you going to be doing this next week or so before we do another recording?
I'm gonna start working on a new, I guess, big buoy with elk antler for the handle. I just haven't decided yet if I'm gonna do like a single guard or a double guard in there. I guess I don't know. I'm probably gonna put it up for sale. Let's see what happens, you know. But what I haven't decided yet is I'm gonna be using the brown dark chocolate antler or the white one that I have, kind of sun bleached, and then maybe dye the handle a little bit, bring it to a nice little light brown color. I really don't like the white the way it is right now, and then. Yeah, but that's my plan for Sunday. I'll be working on the blade, and then I'll decide on the handle later on, and what shape of a guard I'm going to be putting in there. And that is another thing that talking about guards. A lot of people like to say, "Oh, I have a buoy," and one of the traits that I understand for a buoy is a double guard, right? So it's like a general thing that goes on. So I don't know if I'm gonna be actually making a buoy or like a camp knife, right? But it's that's what's in the forecast.
How's the weather up in Maryland? You guys still cold up there?
Maryland, weather-wise, man, is a mess. Okay, so I don't use a different, more aggressive word. I don't know what's wrong with Maryland, man. One day, like yesterday, we had 60 degrees, and then today we were down to 28 and raining, and tomorrow we're gonna be on 50s again, and it's gonna drop to, I don't know, just above freezing on Sunday. So Maryland is always up and down. I don't know if we're just under like where the jet stream moves up and down in North America. But on the same day, I mean, today the day started at 28 degrees, and by the time I made it home, it was 40 something, almost 50. So
We've
it's
been
up and
seeing some
down.
of that.
Maryland.
Yeah, we're seeing some of that all over the United States right now. We've been all over the place. I know Eric said it was 70 degrees one day and real cold the next. But down in comfortable, humid, year-round Louisiana, what are you doing the next couple of weeks in that nice shop?
I'm probably going to be trying to finish up the 2 hidden tangs I have. I've been taking my time, going slow, still doing research, trying to learn stuff about the guards, and I've been conversing with Odysseer. He's been giving me a bunch of tips. And now that I'm also working on the Santuco, I'm going to end up putting some handles on there. I'm just trying to figure out what I want to go with. I got a bunch of different handle material. I'm just not sure what I want to put on it yet. And then I also have ended up getting some 1/4-inch stock in to do another hidden tang. So that'll be 3 hidden tangs. And so I'll have to make guards for all those and put some of Sarah's Pretty Wood on there. And just try to figure out what kind of handle material I'm going to end up putting on the Santuco chef knife. I want to do something like a segmented scales or something, I'm thinking.
Yeah, the pictures you've been sending us pre-handle, the ones you're working on right now, the hidden tang, they're going to be something special. You going to sell them, gift them, or keep them, or what do you say? This is your first hidden tang.
Yeah, I think the first one, the smaller one, I'm gonna give to my son.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, nice.
That's cool. I've given. Chris, what are you going to be doing the next couple of weeks?
Man, I got about 10 knives sitting on the bench right now that have handles on them. Handles are shaped and just need to hand sand. So I got a couple buddies that may come over and help me work through some of that, have a little shop work day. And then I've got that. I got the Damasteel knife that needs to etch up but taking my time on that one. I've got to make sure that one's right. I'm entering that one in as best of show cutlery, hopefully, at the Texas Select event. So I really want to make sure I nail that one. And then I've got a batch of Ridgebacks. That's my ones that have the false edge on top, the swedge. Batch of those that just came out of the heat treat. And I've got a couple of camp knives that I'm doing for some Boy Scouts. I really like making knives for Eagle Scouts, and so I've got a customer that's ordered a couple of those. So I got a lot on the bench, and I got a lot to get done between now and April 2nd for that show. So
How was
see.
your
I may have bitten off more than I can chew.
How was your camping trip last weekend, by the way? Did you have a good time?
We did. We had a good time. I made some. I was grubbing for the adults for one of the meals, so I made some Dutch oven chili mac and some Dutch oven Charlie bread. So that was real tasty. Nobody caught any fish. It was a little cold and windy for that, but the girls all had fun and got to spend an hour or so sitting there laying in the hammock on a nice sunny day. So no, it was good. It was good to get away.
Good deal. I'm glad you had a good time. It's always a blessing to get out with your children on events like that. So glad to hear that. Eric, what's going on with you, my friend?
So, y'all typically know what I have going on because I talk about it in the videos and all that. So, one of the things that I've got going on that's a little bit different than just knife making, and this kind of ties into, people getting into knife making as a new maker. I'm going to be going to a couple of swap meets. Now, a lot of people think that you can only get stuff for making knives from Amazon and Google and all that stuff from looking it up and ordering things off the internet. But you can get some really nice tools and things like that from different swap meets. There's always someone doing some type of sale or garage sale or anything like that, and some of the stuff that I get are from those places. It's amazing what you can get whenever you go through and actually start looking at Facebook groups and everything, and figuring out that you can get an anvil from somebody who is getting out of either being a farrier or a blacksmith or a bladesmith. And a lot of them, they're not trying to make all the money out of these things. They're not the people that are sellers. They're just happen to get out of the craft a little bit, and they'll sell you an anvil for $1.50 a pound, as opposed to $3, $4, $5, $6 a pound. And you can get yourself a good anvil. Same thing with tongs. Typically, when these guys are selling those anvils, they're also selling a couple of hammers, a couple of different styles of tongs, and it's amazing what you can get from them. So I'm going to be doing a few of those because the weather's supposed to start getting a little bit better in Texas after this freeze is done with, and I plan on going to them and seeing what I can scoop up. How about you?
Yeah, so here in North Alabama, the yellow daffodils have started popping up. Something I look forward to as we approach spring, and we have a lot of wild daffodils in North Alabama, so you see them popping up in cow pastures and everywhere. So that's always a nice sign. So we're coming into that. I've got, like I mentioned earlier, I think I've got these 5 EDC knives I'm going to make for some hunting friends of mine that they're going to be used to flesh out carcasses and stuff when they go hunting. Beyond that, I'm going to be putting together the website here, looking a little bit more into maybe some simulcast on the website, or the podcast, I should say, simulcast for possibly some YouTube or to TRE, if we decide to put it there, or either on Knives Templar. But more than anything, I'm just going to sit back and enjoy life. I hope to get back out in the woods a little bit over the next couple weeks and do some backpacking, and I like to do cooking out in the woods and the forest, and do something along those lines. But I'm not, at this point in my life, it's all about just sitting back and enjoying every day, enjoying every little child's smile, and enjoying the hobbies. Because like you young guys, nobody's going to remember you the day after you retire. They're going to replace you, and somebody else will be in that role. The memories you make are the ones with your families and friends, and your hobbies and the things that you do. So don't pass those things up in your life, because that's a point where I'm at now, where I don't take anything for granted, and I still got a lot of life, a lot of years in me. I don't want to sound like I'm old, but I'm just enjoying every day and everything that comes into it. So, guys, I am so glad that we are 2 hours into our episode, and we're getting along great. I think that we could probably spend a weekend out in the desert eating peyote and come out of it just being buddies,
You said peyote?
Little Indian ghost trip there, yeah. Yeah, no, isn't that from that movie Young Guns? They went out into the desert and ate some peyote or peyote, and
they was hallucinating.
Yeah, no, we won't do that. Yeah, I don't think we need to do that. But
I'll just cook some shrimp etouffee. I mean, we can. I mean, if y'all go with that,
I mean, Joey's just down the
we
road.
Can OD on that. We can OD on that.
Yeah, I'm down. I'm down.
So, guys, we'd like to thank everybody listening today for listening to the podcast. And if you haven't subscribed, please hit that subscribe button so you don't miss an episode of the Knives Templars. And also, before we sign off today, you've heard some great messages from great new sponsors that we've gotten. Please make sure that you're supporting these sponsors in all of your knife endeavors, because they are great, and they're reaching out to us to make sure that they're providing good products to you. So all that being said, we're going to sign off from the Knives Templar now.
Hey!